Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with another zombie review. And this time I'm doing one of my all-time favorite movies ever. Not just zombie, not just horror. Like, this movie is somewhere in my top 10. Somewhere between 5 and 10. Like, it is one of my top 10 favorite movies ever. I love it so much. I love it even more every time I see it, and that is Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, or for those of you in Europe, Braindead. Came out in 1992, and I don't even know where to start with this movie. This movie is just so fucking great. It is a horror comedy. I mean, even though it's 92, I would put this with movies like Return of the Living Dead, Evil Dead 2, Reanimator. I'd put it with movies like that. Even though the order would probably go Evil Dead 2, either this or Reanimator, then Return of the Living Dead. But yeah, one of my top 10 favorite movies ever. First time I saw it, yeah, I was kind of disappointed because, it says Phantom of the Movies of New York Daily News, the goriest fright film of all time. So I'm thinking it's going to be like crazy gory, which it is, but it's gory in like a unrealistic, over-the-top comedy kind of way. And the zombies aren't I was expecting like Dawn or Day of the Dead originals, but way gorier. And I wasn't a big fan of the comedy and the look of the zombies, and how a lot of the blood was kind of pink goop, unrealistic looking. But then some time passed, and I'd kind of forgotten about it, watched it again, and I don't know what was different about it, but I fell in love with it. And I watch it every once in a while, and every time I do, I have a friggin' ball. Like, this and Evil Dead 2 are two of the most fun movies that I watch, of my favorites. I mean, yeah, Shining, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Psycho, those are my top 3 favorite movies ever. But those aren't necessarily fun. They're not really entertaining in a fun way, like Evil Dead 2 or this or Reanimator. So yeah, now that I've kissed this movie's ass enough, for those that haven't seen it, what is it about? Well, first, I just remember seeing this VHS cover when I was a kid at the movie store, and just, this is what I thought it was about. It kind of used to freak me out when I was a kid, going into the video store and seeing this. And also, real quick, it's pretty crazy that Peter Jackson, he pretty much, do you like how high my voice just got? He pretty much never has to work again. Because, he has Lord of the Rings trilogy, which, next to Godfather, is the only trilogy to win Best Picture for all 3. Then he did the Hobbit trilogy. He did the King Kong remake, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but he did the King Kong remake. The guy is a prestigious Oscar-winning director, but he got his start with movies like this. I think before this was Meet the Feebles, which I saw years ago. I don't really remember much of it. I haven't seen Bad Taste. I really want to. His older movies are kind of hard to find. Like, this is really the only one that you can, go almost anywhere there's DVDs and pick it up. So, Dead Alive is actually a New Zealand film. And I'm kind of curious, is it New Zealand or is it London? Okay, it's in New Zealand. I always thought it was London. I guess I can't tell accents apart. But I mean, does sort of have like a British kind of humor to it. You know, I sort of got into this and Monty Python at the same time. So I was kind of like, yeah, it's like if you take Monty Python aspect, the Mama's Boy aspect of Psycho, a Little Shop of Horrors, and a zombie flick, melded those together, and you get this. Anyway, it opens up with these two guys they're on Skull Island, you know, where Kong supposedly is. They're trying to catch this a Sumatran Rat-Monkey, which is a hybrid animal that is the product of the rape of 3 monkeys by plagued rats. So they find one, but the guy gets bitten. The natives aren't too happy about it. They take care of him, and it is shipped to the zoo in New Zealand. And that's when we meet our lead, who is Lionel Cosgrove, who's played by Timothy Balm, which everyone in this movie I've never seen in anything else. And Timothy Balm is great. He's, this timid, awkward, shy, he's like a New Zealand version of like a Woody Allen, basically. He's in Insufferable Mama's Boy. He's a big man child. His mother is Vera, and she's played by now Elizabeth Moody. That actually sounds familiar. But I haven't seen anything. Anyway, she has Lionel do everything for her. She guilt trips him into shit like, oh, your poor mother, you can't even do this. He feels like she's all, like, they're all they have because his father ran out on him when he was young. You find out later that's not true. But he goes to the store that's run by the Spanish family, and there's this beautiful Spanish woman named Paquita, who threw tarot cards with her, I think it's her grandmother, in a turn of very silly, over-the-top, kind of, tongue-in-cheek Hollywood events. She comes to find out that Lionel is her one true love. So that's what she believes, and that's what she's going for. And basically, the movie picks up when they finally go on a date. They go to the zoo. Vera tails them because she's very jealous. She's the only woman Lionel needs in his life, and other women are no good, and she'll take him away from her. But when she's following him, she gets a little too close to the Sumatran Rat-Monkey exhibit. She gets bitten. And from there, Lionel has to blow off Paquita to take care of her. And she's just getting increasingly worse. And almost every scene in this movie is just one disgusting, gory scene from one to the next. They have this big, beautiful mansion. It's not really beautiful, but it's like a big, crazy mansion. And she's in love with her garden. In fact, these magazine people are supposed to come interview her. But by this time, the illness from being bitten is sort of killing her, and she's kind of falling apart. She can't really talk. So Lionel gets her all ready, and the couple comes over, and like they fix a bowl of porridge, I guess, and like her ear falls off, and like I think it's like her lip. Lionel goes to do something, and it just like squirts like a zit. You hear it like really juicy sounds, and it looks like white pus from like a pimple. It lands in the guy's porridge, and you know, just watching him eat it is fucking gross. And then, you know, she finally dies, and like even, well, she kind of turns into like a zombie, and then like it all, I don't want to give away everything, but basically, you know, she turns into a zombie, and Lionel has to keep her down in the cellar until he figures out what to do with her. But more and more people keep getting bitten, and he has to keep storing more and more zombies. Like, he's digging, she actually dies, and even her embalming scene is fucking disgusting, because the guys forget they left the thing on, and just her face all engorged and squirting embalming fluid. He goes to dig her up, and there's these like punks, these leather jacket punks. They beat him up, and one's pissing on her grave, and he's like, "As my mother you're pissing on." Reaches to the grave, grabs his dick, pulls him down, like bites him, turns into a zombie. Then you get this awesome scene with this priest who's like, "I'd kick ass for the Lord." He does like all this like karate, kicking zombies. Pretty much for a little bit, he's got his mother, a punk, the priest, and like his mother's nurse together in the basement. He fixes them all breakfast, and the nurse, like, something happened to her head, so like the back of her neck is still intact, so it'll be like a stump, and she has to like fix her head. He's trying to feed them all breakfast, but like when she's eating, the food's coming out of here, and it's not, so he just tilts her head back and just feeds her the food. His Uncle Les comes over. His Uncle Les is like, he's got like big overweight dude. He's got like Elvis hair and like a shiny suit. He's got like this weird inhaler. He's kind of a sleaze. He's trying to get him to go away, and the priest and the nurse are having like zombie sex, which I guess amplifies the pregnancy, because she gives birth in no time to like the ugliest fucking baby. You know, just like the scenes with the baby, like he takes it to the park, and like he's like trying to fight with the baby, so he's like this, and people are watching. He's like bashing it against the swing set, and baby has this really annoying laugh whenever it's about to do something kind of evil. And it's just, the movie's just so fucking gross and awesome. Then the movie really picks up, because Lionel goes home, and his Uncle Les comes out of the cellar. And he's like, "Yeah, so I know your secret. You're gonna sell me your inheritance of the house, because I've always wanted this house, or I'm gonna expose you for what you are." Lionel's like, "Fine." He doesn't care. Oh, because he has to keep getting tranquilizers, so he keeps giving tranquilizers to all these zombies. So that night, you know, Les is like, "I'm gonna have a housewarming party for my friends. You need to get rid of those stiffs." Also, when he pisses, Uncle Les does this like, And then he starts, just odd, weird scenes like that. So Lionel, and he's been blowing up Paquita for a while. He kind of looks like hell. He thinks he has animal tranquilizers, so he juiced up all the zombies and he buried them in the cellar. Turns out it was actually animal stimulants. So now they come back crazier than ever. And this house is full of fucking people. And I mean, you have... Yeah, I can't even explain everything. It is just so fucking crazy. Like, you have this one guy who's getting, like, pulled through something. And when people pull him back, it's just bloody bones for legs. The one punk, at one point, he's just a torso. And, like, Lionel's trying to climb through, like, the air vent. And, like, the punk's intestines get caught on something and it just unravels him. So then it's just his intestines and his lungs, like, moving around. You even see, like, what I guess is his asshole making, like, a fart sound. And, like, his intestines go in front of a mirror, you know, like, looks at himself, like, his lungs are being, like, hands, and... Or, like, when Lionel's gonna, like, stomp on him or something, like, he uses his lungs to, like, pray. Just very imaginative. And it's just non-stop gore. And then, of course, the one scene everyone remembers. Party's over. He goes outside and he gets his lawnmower. And he's just like, party's over. And he, like, picks it, like, right up in front of the camera. And he, like, starts it up. And he just starts mowing through zombies. And, I mean, it is, like, yeah, it's not realistic. It's really thick, goopy, like, pink blood and guts. But that shit is everywhere. I mean, this really is the goriest film of all time. People want to argue that the Evil Dead remake, as awesome as it is, has technically used the most gallons of fake blood for a film. Okay. But the Evil Dead remake, most of that blood, it was literally raining blood from the sky. This is blood and guts actually coming out of people and zombies. There's a difference between blood being used for rain and this shit being used because they're getting chewed up by lawnmowers and fuck knows what else. I would say the only part that's kinda, you know, not that great will be like when his mother finally wakes up, when Vera finally wakes up. She's like this giant, like if a Terry Gilliam animation came to life, you know, like a Monty Python animation, giant zombie monster. You know, that's when you find out that his dad was having an affair and she killed him and his lover. And Lionel finally stands up to her and kills her. Stands up to her is weird because she's literally a giant. Also, Uncle Les has this great scene where he's done fucking around, so he has like these cleavers. It's this cool editing where it's like, he's like hacking away at these zombies, but it's like this weird, it's like this really fast cuts, but it's kind of like a robotic. It's kind of, it would be cheesy looking if it was in anything else, but it was kind of cool when they did it in this. And of course that fucking baby keeps dodging death at every turn. Actually, when it's about to fall in the blender, you kind of feel bad for it. There's that one zombie that gets its head pushed up against it's like a wall light without a picture. It's just a bulb, so like his whole skull is glowing. And like, it's over the top on purpose. Like Paquita and this other woman, before the zombie's head blows up, they know what's gonna happen. And you know, usually in movies, people look at each other, then they look back. Well, it's over the top. They're like, this movie's so over the top, but the way it does it, it is just so much fun. It's so funny. Lionel's a great fucking character. Oh yeah, there's also this scene where a guy gets like his whole like rib cage ripped out. Like there's too much for me to like list everything that happens, but it is it's definitely like the most disgusting. And there's movies out there like Snuff 102, like those really disturbing films. Like, yeah, you can stand there and like fuck a woman with a kitchen knife all you want and make it look creepy and disturbing, but this actually has like gross out stuff, like a fucking pus coming out of like her face and landing in the like the pudding, and the guy eating it, and just like the nurse's head back, just pouring food down her throat, and then just a party where everyone is just getting glorified. I cannot praise this movie enough. I'm probably leaving a lot out. It has been a little bit since I've seen it. But that lawnmower scene is so iconic. Dead Alive, if you like horror comedies, or if you're just a gore hound and you haven't seen this, Christmas has come early, and you're welcome. Yeah, seriously, like, top 10, it's in my top 10. I love this movie so much. I can't express that enough. Such a fun movie. And I can't really remember any lines of dialogue at this moment, but there's even funny lines of dialogue. Like, when, I think it's his mom, Paquita brings her dog over, and Paquita walks in, and his mother's eating her dog, and she's like, "Your mother ate my dog," and he's just like, he's holding it by the tail, and of course it's all dead. He's just like, "Not all of it." Just a very funny, yeah, like Monty Python, Little Shop of Horrors, Mama's Boy from Psycho, and just a balls to the wall zombie flick. Peter Jackson, you need to go back to making movies like this. Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit may be great and all. You know, that may get you on the red carpet, but this is where people really love you, man. And again, I'm going to say it one last time, I cannot praise or recommend this enough. Like, if you have friends that aren't really horror fans, like, if Friday the 13th is, or, like, if Saw is gory for them, if you're having a party one night, pop this in and just see how your friends handle it. Again, one of my all-time favorite movies. So much fun. I love it to death. But I'm just going to start kissing its ass again. So, for Room 237, hope you had fun watching me gush over Dead Alive. Thank you.